Hi, I'm Jonathan Weinberg. Hope everybody's doing well. I finally made it past 200 subscribers. Thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please do. So today I wanted to do a follow-up to a video I did a while ago in which I talked about all the wonderful reasons for using fountain pens and how in love I am with fountain pens. Today I am going to do a confession, Confessions of a Fountain Pen Addict.
I must confess to you. I must tell someone. I want to make a confession.
What do I mean? Well, it seems only fair that I talk about some of the reasons why you might not want to get into fountain pens. Number one, the ink problem, getting ink on your hands. So that you spend so much time washing your hands.
Out. Turn. Spot. Out. See.
And one of the peculiarities of fountain pen ink is that so many of the inks are not waterproof, so if you get water on them, they run. But somehow or other, when they get on your fingers and you try to wash them off, they just stay there on your fingers. It just stays there on the fingers. And if you're using red ink, it looks like you have blood, or brown ink, it looks like you're dirty, and your fingernails get filthy, and it can make you crazy. Now, I know there are plenty of people who are really good at putting ink into their fountain pens and I guess don't get ink on their fingers. And I have tried to do all kinds of things like wear gloves, and I have a special ink thing that you can, I'm forgetting what it's called, but helps you put the ink into your pen so that you supposedly don't spill it. And I managed to, just the other day, to use it completely the wrong way, and ink went everywhere. And that leads me to my second thing. I tend to do a lot of my fountain pen cleaning and writing and everything in the kitchen. And my husband says that I have made it look like it is a meth lab because I have all my different inks, and when I have an accident with some of the ink, it gets onto some of the sponges and stuff that it's supposed to be for the kitchen, so I end up having to throw them out. And that is, again, another annoyance, particularly for people who you live with, unless you have a whole separate room and bathroom and sink that you use just for your fountain pens. And of course, there's the other thing, you can get ink on your clothes and on the floor, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, I have to be honest, I haven't really ruined much clothing, and I try to be careful. But the other thing is sometimes I have been known to accidentally drop a nib down the sink, or I have thrown, actually by accident, things into the garbage and had to fish things out of the garbage. So all of that can drive you crazy. Then there is my obsession with getting good deals on eBay.
Would somebody start the bidding at $750, please?
How do we know it's not a fake? It looks like a fake.
And shopping for fountain pens. So that takes up enormous amounts of my time, particularly when I can't sleep at night. I go through eBay, I look at the different pen advertisements. I watch YouTube and listen to other people doing reviews like this or talking about their fountain pen, their love of fountain pens. So that takes over your life to some degree. Then there's the issue of money, because buying all these fountain pens of course, can be hard on your bank account.
I've been living in garbage with rats for a month, and now I have nothing.
I tend to justify it by saying that I don't buy a lot of clothes and I don't go to restaurants, and since COVID we don't go on vacations. So there you go, and it could be much more expensive than other habits. And then on the other hand too, whereby you buy a lot of things you buy, let's say you buy acute computer equipment, all kinds of things, you can't sell them. And fountain pens, you can usually sell them for some of the money that you spent on them. So that's a good thing, but nevertheless, this obsession can have dire financial consequences. Finally, and maybe the worst thing about fountain pens is that you find yourself talking about them all the time with people who aren't into fountain pens.
Okay, yes. We are bored. We're all bored now.
So you can be at a dinner party or at Thanksgiving and find yourselves talking about fountain pens to the horror and boredom of everyone in your surroundings. People might pretend to be interested or ask you a question, and soon you're lecturing them
But enough about me. I hope this hasn't been boring for you.
on the wonders of a Waterman safety pen or the differences between flex pens and non-flex pens, and you notice their eyes glazing over, or you become a kind of religious fanatic in which you try to convince other people to be interested in fountain pens and to become as obsessed with them as you are. So you try to convert them to this bizarre and strange addiction. That said, going through all these different problems with fountain pens, it's almost really, given the fact that they have these problems, that I find them to be so wonderful and give me so much joy with the pain that that's part of the wonder of the whole business. For example, I could use cartridges. When you put a cartridge into a pen that takes a cartridge, you don't usually get ink on your hands because they are enclosed, and unless the pen leaks. So that would be a solution, but cartridges aren't any fun. And the whole getting your hands into it is part of the joy. So there's the frustration, but then there's the pleasure. And perhaps you could argue there wasn't the frustration, there wouldn't be the pleasure.
Maybe you'd like to know what this message looks like in English. Here it is.